Well, this is it. This is going to be my last proper film review, at least for my film studies class, but in many ways it kind of is a final entry because this kind of marks the ending of one thing and the beginning of another. Well, for the sake of avoiding anything personal or sappy, let's just get straight to the point. This is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. This is a movie that's set in a semi-futuristic environment, though very much like your average American town in the 1990s, oddly enough. And it stars Jim Carrey as a man trying to wipe his memory of that of a rather troubled relationship with a rather determined and feisty woman named Clementine, played by Kate Winslet. So, he hires a team led by Mark Ruffalo to do the job and remove all the memories, because they actually have the technology necessary to create a device that can remove specific memories from your mind. However, as the film Memento style moves backwards in time from the end of relationship through to the beginning, turns out things actually started off pretty good between the two, and just got out of hand because the two of them didn't have quite the same life outlooks. Unfortunately, Carrey, whilst trapped in his subconscious, starts regretting removing the memories because all the memories are chosen for removal. It eventually creates this very strange implication at the end. And in spite of the fact that I've basically laid out the entire plot for you right there, there actually are some very interesting aspects of this film. One thing is that the effects are extremely simple. There's almost no digital technology used when it comes to the special effects in this movie, and it's actually surprising and very refreshing considering this was made in the mid-2000s. Also, I love the fact that Jim Carrey actually shows that he can be a dramatic actor as well. True, he still plays a bit of a man-child, but he actually can be taken seriously in this too. That is to say, he can if it's possible to look past the fact that it's Jim Carrey, and I'm sure there's some people who just can't like Jim Carrey no matter what, but if you haven't seen this film, give it a try for that, because you might be surprised. Also, Kate Winslet's very likably feisty, even when she's in her more difficult moods, as shown by the end of the relationship. Also, for some reason I do find Kate Winslet's American accent kind of adorable, just saying. And for the sake of making things a little easier, though, in terms of the Memento-style narrative, is that it makes it clear where in the chronology of the film the story is in terms of moving through the memories, and it mostly just comes from both the chemistry and whatever color Kate Winslet decided to dye her hair. It represents a portion of the relationship as it goes. That's pretty interesting. Also, in spite of the fact that the cast is pretty minimal, there are quite a lot of characters and they all have some colorful aspects. Kirsten Dunst, who I'm normally not the biggest fan of, I do think is really good in this. Mark Ruffalo is interestingly quirky. Elijah Wood's actually pretty creepy in this, in terms of his character and what he does. Though, one interesting thing about it that I'm not sure if a lot of people have pointed this out, but there's actually a really distinct parallel in terms of narratives with both character arcs. In the film, Jim Carrey's is shown moving backwards through his memories as gradually, one by one, the memories are siphoned out of his conscious. However, in addition, there's also a bit of a relationship trouble that similarly goes on in the part of Kirsten Dunst's character, and though not as interesting, does have a rather intriguing payoff that later leads to the big clincher at the very end of the film. And for those who haven't seen it, I probably shouldn't give it away, but let's just say it's actually kind of bone-chilling, in much the same way that The Third Man's ending was kind of bone-chilling, even though the context is different. As you know, I was not the biggest admirer of Third Man after seeing it, but the last 20 minutes or so of the film completely changed my opinion on it by that point. Well, same here. I wasn't entirely sure what to think about it and was a little uncertain when I first saw it, but by the time the last 20 minutes or so rolled by, things completely changed and I was totally enamored with it. Though that won't take away from the fact that I can't call this a favorite, though it is very good. The performances, I do think, alone are exceptional. And, again, the denouement, particularly the very last shot of the film, does imply something quite incredible. And unlike Stanley Kubrick, it is made pretty clear what the implication is. Though again, for those who haven't seen it, I'll leave it up to you, because this is a worthwhile film to check out. Like pretty much all the films that I've been shown for film studies, I do think these are all worthwhile to see at least once if you have interest in films. And that's why I will say that I do give this film good grades as well. It's very intriguing. In spite of its really simple setup and rather simple execution, it feels like something really powerful just because of its level of intimacy and simplicity in terms of its portrayal of relationships, and doesn't even feel like it's a sci-fi movie, even though it's technically classified as one because of the memory modifying technology that's in this film. So I find that one of the most interesting aspects. So, yeah, on the worth meter, at least this gets a worth renting, but I think it's safe to say this is a worth owning for most film collectors, because it is a very intriguing film. And out of 5, this gets a 4 out of 5. Not the best, but definitely pretty good, and definitely worth seeing every now and then. Thanks for your time. This could be the last time you'll be seeing me, but who knows. In the meantime, you've probably seen him introduce himself already in another video, and stay tuned. Because I think he might be much more interesting than what I've been able to provide for you. Hope to see you around.